that product, how it would affect them on a regular basis. But on a larger field, it's important to remember that healthcare products don't just stay in the healthcare world. I think the easiest way to relate to that is a bariatric product. So 20 years ago, people would only look at bariatric products like an overweight individual is just hanging out at a doctor's office all day. That's not the case. Most importantly, in this day and age, with 30% of the population being bariatric, looking at how that affects every other market and how those types of products can translate over and form into different elements in those markets is very important to understand.
Now, in terms of preparation for going into, a new client at a new hospital,
Okay.
do you approach the people, the decision makers, differently than you would approach someone in the education or business because of the humanistic well-being side of life that is much more visual in the hospitals?
I think every client you approach, it's important to remember the person that's actually using the product. It tugs at the heartstrings a little bit more when you're in healthcare just because everybody can relate to being at that point, waiting for someone that you care about in a waiting room and what that environment's looking like, or spending all night next to someone that's in a hospital bed. So there's definitely a certain emotion that goes along with that. And the folks that you're dealing with in the healthcare world are usually in a much different area than what you would deal with in other markets. You walk into a healthcare facility and the people that you're talking about or dealing with are in the bowels of the hospital and don't get to see light all day long. And, they live, breathe, and eat that hospital. They're there all day. So it's certainly a different feeling and a different kind of conversation that you would have with them than, say, someone that, works on a college campus and deals with 18-year-old kids all day long and gets to be outside. It's kind of a little bit different of a stressor.
Oh, not completely crazy specific.
Okay. One specific example I have is a hospital in Christiana, Delaware. We're in the Philly market. So this particular client, the woman that chooses the furniture there, she's an interior designer on campus. So she's a little bit different in that context, that she understands all parts of the world, the purchasing side, the furniture side, the humanistic side of dealing with the patient in general. So she had worked with our firm, or NKI, for quite some time. She was familiar with us, she was familiar with the product, but she's not a person that you can necessarily push in one way or another. I found out that there was an opportunity. They were building a new tower for one of their buildings in Wilmington, Delaware. So I started talking to her about some of the pieces of the building, and they had found some pull-out sleepers that they had really liked in some different products of ours, but also some competitors as well. So I went to see her about some of the products that she was looking at in our realm. Realized that they had experienced some problems on campus with the same product previously because of a misspecification on her part, which can be a little scary when you run into an interior designer because it was their fault in the first place, and you don't want to say, you were wrong, you shouldn't have done that, and you wouldn't have ever experienced anything wrong with the product. So talk to her a little bit about some of the options that we have in other ways. Specifically, they had not spec'd casters on a sleeper, and the nurses, who are normally my size, are trying to pull around these giant sleepers, and over 10 years, are busting the arms off. That happens if you don't have a caster on it. So simply talking in the realm of adding casters and adding a better support system for locking them gave her the opportunity to choose a product that she loved, which was KI, and still give them the chance to move it around when they needed to and not hurt the product in the meantime.